If you're fond of puns, jokes, or just general innuendos about bones, man, have you come to the right place. The life of a bone raiser is such a pain. All these guys want to do is chill in their spooky cribs and practice their spooky craft, away from the prying eyes of insufferable zealots. But once King Giggled catches wind that you committed the heinous crime of existing, he sends everything, and I do mean everything, to pound you into paste. Knacker-stealing goblins, superstitious smelly beggars, paladins, trees, rats, ogres, bubble-bobble dragons, impolite halflings, even zombies, ghosts, and other undead baddies. Seems the king isn't above dabbling in the very same dark arts that led to your condemnation. Well, that's just fine. You stuck your toes into necromancy, but I cannonballed into it. This is another one of those Survivor-style games that's become so popular lately. Vampire Survivors got lucky by being first, because compared to some of the other options out there, and especially Boneraiser Minions, it's kinda f***ing boring. Barely any differences between characters, maps that have no business being as big as they are, boring as hell upgrades. Wow, I can upgrade my max health. How compelling and interesting. And with how expensive they are, you might only get 1 or 2 upgrades between games. Man, forget this. I've played the worst, now I play the thirst. Quencher. Drink power thirst. I could sit here and give you an extremely dry tutorial on all the stuff you can do in this game, but I'm trying not to do that anymore. I've been falling into that trap for almost 4 years, and only recently I figured out that, hey, that shit's boring and it turns people away. This is the Bone Zone, I'm a skeleton, this is Boneraiser Minions, and I'm not fucking around anymore. So instead, let me tell you some stories about my crazier runs. Like this one, where I went with Vampire Survivor. This dude gains max health and bones for level ups through the art of bone suckage. Ha! Which means lots of deliberate running into enemies and taking lots of damage. This class becomes slower the lower its health is, so it's a risky game of getting in, taking some hits, and getting back out before you're too slow to escape. To help with that, I raised a couple fruity bros and merged them into this dude who has a healing aura. You really can't go wrong with raising this guy, especially when you take a relic that converts extra healing into occult health, basically armor. Of course, a vampire has to have his bats, so every bellow baddie I raised or upgraded would summon a temporary flock of bats and give me a spell to summon more. A spell that, by the way, can be powered up by standing still and holding the button down to charge it. Something that will get you killed if you do it willy-nilly. After 18 minutes of feasting and having a blast, I pounded King Giggled right good and proper at an impressive 868 HP.
But I'm not done yet!
Oh no, I was having way too much fun, so I went for another more difficult loop, where I bro-raised the Brodacious Brozilla by fusing 2 of my Zombros and my Fruity Bro. This fine gentleman takes on the properties of the bros used to fuse him. Awesome! At the 40-minute mark, I took down a much more deadly and dead-looking Giggled, but whispers stir that he may have formed a fresh Diablucial. The f***? Is that a typo? Diablucial pact with the demonic realm itself to continue his crusade. So you bet your ass I went for another loop. With my army of Zombros, bats, sweeping laser demon, health leech out the wazoo, and contact with enemies only making me stronger, I figured there was no way I could lose. Sadly, I finally fell about 10 minutes later, which wouldn't have happened if I had taken the relic that gives a couple seconds of invulnerability after leveling up. But oh well. I did reach rank 4 on the leaderboard though. Later I tried out the Voodoo Shaman to raise an army of Zompanions. This one gets some class bonuses from Shroom Bros and Jinx Witches, but as you can guess, the main appeal is a metric ton of Zombros that bite enemies to raise even more, which you can then merge into a big Zombroid Bro. I even got super lucky on this run and stacked 3 Shrunken Head relics to increase my Zombro limit by 9. Sadly, it wasn't meant to be and I wound up dying before even reaching the king. I think I needed more Shroom Bros for healing or something. I have one more story for you, but first, I get the feeling you aren't fully aware of just how expansive this selection of minions really is. So let me lay it out for you. You get your base minions at level 1. These can be upgraded to level 3, where they can then be upgraded into demons, giants, Meldus, and probably some other weird shit. because there's just too much in this game to fully keep track of. Say I upgraded 2 of my minions into demons. Then if I pick up a hero soul, I can merge them into one powerful demon. And that's not even close to everything. Normally you can only have one Flambro, but if you take the relic that gives you a rotating ball of fire, it will increase the limit. Then you can get 2, and you can merge them into this much more powerful form that creates a massive fire AoE with every step. Not to mention barrow boners that dig up goodies and have their own upgrade line. Look, I could go on for hours with this. All you need to know is that this shit is bananas, and you're gonna have so much fun unlocking and discovering all the different minions, relics, spells, classes, gameplay modes, field placements, cosmetics, songs. Oh hell yeah, the music! You ever play a game called 8-Bit Boy? I have. It's not great, but it has character. I recognized some of the tracks from that game and asked what that was all about. Turns out Boneraiser Minions soundtrack is all royalty-free music, which blows my mind because it fits the style perfectly. Not to mention also being just really, really good chiptunes. I don't mind that Cosmic Storm sounds like a heroic theme to cheer on the enemies. I love every time it plays. The final end is some real head bopping goodness. And I really like Chibi Ninja. Such a nice mellow track. Feels like getting out of school on a Friday. Every playthrough of Boneraiser is a symphony of chiptunes, as each new wave starts up a new track. It's one of the few games that I haven't gotten tired of listening to after 18 hours. And on a side note, I will give Vampire Survivors credit for the soundtrack. It does have some pretty banging tunes. For my final run, I tried a new mode where you take the fight to Queen Gigalicious herself, sort of like an arcade mode. For this, I went with Dark Metaman. This guy works a little differently. All the other classes have upgrade slots that take hero souls to unlock, but Metaman is the guy that you dump all your surplus souls into for boosting stats, like bone value, HP, all that good stuff. I know I complained about this being boring in Vampire Survivors, but you won't unlock this guy for a while, and he's only one out of the 16 different classes. Speaking of unlocks, there's like a million billion of them, so be ready for that. On this run, I took the loot box perk a couple times that gives 2 random relics. This gave me perks that, and I'm not paraphrasing here, made me shit myself every time I took damage or long dashed, which works the same as powering up a spell. Upon realizing this was happening, a light bulb turned on in my skull. This sure would be a good time to take the perk that sets those puddles of diarrhea doo-doo on fire. Once I did, the run became me charging up my invincible dash and rocketing across the screen, propelled by a trail of fetid flaming feces from my bustling diaper. And if you're thinking, Skelly, that sounds kinda busted, don't worry, this game is well designed. Full screen dashing takes much longer to recharge than short dashes. Much like charging up your spells, careless use will leave you stranded in a scrum of bad dudes. Dark Metaman, Conqueror of Queens, Despicable Diaper Depositor. Suddenly the abbreviation for this game's title makes a lot of sense. I like to weigh the difference between Vampire Survivors and Boneraiser Minions like this. Vamp Serve is Super Mario Land on Game Boy. It's a decently fun game. Boneraiser is the Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World combo cart for Super Nintendo. You know, the best bang for your buck that Nintendo has ever released. Trust me, watching your army grow until the screen becomes a cacophony of chaos is incredibly satisfying, and it's an experience you can have for a measly $5. Please go buy it and witness the true potential this survivor genre has to offer. Oh shit, I forgot there was a card game too! This game has literally everything! Please become a Spooky Scary subscriber, and I'll see you next time on the Bone Zone. This is A Skeleton, signing out.